how many social work students are there in Michigan? What do you think? I think I might have mentioned this in Patricia's class, so I hope that you get it right. But this is always a really good thing to be thinking about, especially as you approach graduation, or for those of you in your bachelor's programs, as you think about a master's program, kind of who is in our field. Up for just a couple more.
Ben, turn that down.
I can't get my speaker to work.
As folks are coming in, you probably see a poll question popped up on your screen. If you want to take your stab at how many social work students are there in Michigan, you're going to be recognizing about 30 of y'all today, but what does the full picture kind of look like?
My speaker isn't working.
I have 601, so we'll go ahead and get rolling for today. So the answer to the question, and we got a pretty full mix of folks who the choices today. The correct answer is actually more than 6,500. So we are one of the largest states in the whole U.S. for social work students here in Michigan. We have the most bachelor's level students out of any state in the United States, with about 4,000 BSW level students alone, and then another roughly 2,500 MSW students, and then a handful of the doctoral folks and the PhD level social workers. So yes, we have lots of social work students in Michigan, and this is especially important to be thinking about as you approach graduation for many of you, and thinking about what are those next steps, how do you find jobs? How do you get connected into the field? And really a good way to do that is with your fellow students. And hopefully today is another one of those pieces. You're going to get to know a lot of your fellow students from across the state. You're going to get to probably hear about some schools you never knew existed or have heard about before. And that's always why I love doing this this award ceremony every year. I'm Dwayne Brejak. I'm the Executive Director for NASW-Michigan. I am so excited to be here today for the 2022 Social Work Student of the Year Award. This is our second virtual award ceremony. So I think you all are probably much more familiar with virtual meetings than the last time we did one of these ceremonies. So we thank you all for being here. We're really honored to be able to share this moment with all of you, and as the association be able to recognize all of your hard work this year. We are going to have a pretty full slate today. We have a lot of students to get through, as you probably saw through in our agenda and the program that was emailed out. How today's flow will kind of go is we will have, first up will be myself, just our welcome and introductions, and then I will turn it over briefly to our Director of Membership and Communications, Kalyn Lewis, who's going to give you a little Social Work Month rah-rah, and then we will have a quick little Social Work Month special video that we will show, and then we will go right into the award ceremony. How that will work is we will go in alphabetical order by school. So Andrews, you will be up first here today, and we will go then in BSW and then MSW order by school. So Western, you'll be at the very end of today. So we will have a couple of little interjections with videos. So if people want to get up and stretch or use the bathroom, feel free to move about while we're on this. We're going to have a couple of hours here together. This award really was designed about 15 years ago to recognize our excellence in social work students across the state. As we already talked about, Michigan is one of the more robust states for social work students, and we know that many of you are doing really amazing things while you're in your BSW and MSW program. One of the things about social work is we don't often recognize ourselves enough. So this was one way that we wanted to at least annually make sure that every social work program in the state was able to get recognized, and that the students at each of those schools were able to be highlighted across the entire state of Michigan. We at NASW will do a couple other outreaches after this. We'll likely be sending some information to our national office. You'll probably see your faces on social media. If you haven't already, we put our graphic out today. Feel free to share those. As I mentioned earlier, we will have the video recording out as well, so that will be emailed to everybody who is on this, this event here tonight. But we are really honored to be able to learn more about all of you amazing students today. Many of you, this is not your first career. You may have come into social work from many other disciplines. Many of you are leading social work organizations at your institutions, are doing amazing things in your field placement, and we know are going to be huge assets to the field over the next several years. So with that, I would like to turn it over to Kalyn Lewis, who is going to give a few remarks, and then we'll get rolling for the day.
Thank you, Dwayne. Good evening and welcome, everyone. As Dwayne mentioned, my name is Kalyn Lewis, and I am the new Director of Membership and Communications here at NASW-Michigan. It is truly an honor to be able to come together with you all this evening and to have the opportunity to recognize, honor, and be inspired by the next generation of social work leaders in our state. Social work is currently one of the fastest growing professions in the United States, which I find really encouraging because the need for social workers is so great. The time is always right for social work. However, we need more social workers than ever before as we continue to face such pressing crises, including the COVID-19 pandemic, systemic racism, economic inequality, global warming, military conflict, and more, which is why the time is right for you. The time is right for each of you to be joining the social work field and to emerge with determination and use your diverse experiences, skills, and passions to meet this pivotal moment. All of tonight's awardees have a passion for supporting others and making our society a better place to live for all, and you have demonstrated this through academic excellence, community and school engagement, political and legislative involvement, and your commitment to the profession's values and ethics. So before I hand it over to Dwayne, just in case you don't quite brag enough about yourselves when it's your turn to speak tonight, which I have a feeling that might be the case, I want to highlight some of your leadership roles and achievements, which include social work and student association leaders, academic program leaders, social work club leaders, honor society leaders, nonprofit founders and volunteers, scholarship awardees, mentors, church leaders, researchers, conference presenters, veterans, and the list goes on. You've been described by your nominators as a leader and champion for others, a dynamic social work student, kind and compassionate, a natural born and humble leader, a highly motivated student, a bright and thoughtful student in person, a true leader and advocate, a committed student and a respected peer, humble, intelligent, and leads with warmth and respect for others. So I think it's safe to say that you all have a lot to be proud of. Congratulations to you all, and I look forward to getting to know more about you during our time together tonight. And with that, we are going to kick things off with a fun Social Work Month video.
And so our first little video today, if any of you are fans of The Office, I'm guessing some of you may be, this is going to be from actress Kate Flannery, who recorded a special message for the social work field for our Social Work Month, which officially just wrapped up, but this year's theme is the time is right for social work, which we absolutely know is true. So let's pull up Kate's message.
Hey everybody, happy Social Work Month. It's me, Kate Flannery, Meredith from The Office. Yeah, I was the socially inappropriate drinker in The Office. You are needed now more than ever. Social workers literally touch the lives of millions of people every day. We are so grateful for you. You help people overcome addictions. You help children stay safe. You help people deal with depression and anxiety and other mental illnesses. Social workers help people improve their relationships with others. Come to think of it, we could have used a social worker on the office. Thank you for all the work you do and all you continue to do on the front lines of the pandemic. The lockdowns, the restrictions, and the constant fear. Thank you for helping children who are remotely schooled, overcoming challenges to get education, and for helping millions of American families affected by COVID-19. I want you to know we appreciate your amazing work. We could not do this without you. Social Work Month should be all year round because we need to support you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you, social workers. You did it. Seriously, thank you. This is a done deal for you. The time is right for social work. So thank you. You did it.
Thank you, Kate. We don't have Dundies for all of you. I wish we did, but you do have packets coming in the mail. You should be receiving those anytime. They were sent out on Tuesday. Some of you may have already received them. That'll have a few goodies for you, as well as some swag to wear at graduation. So we hope you will take some pictures with your social work swag and send those back to us so we can highlight you even more. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our ceremony today. Please do not feel pressure. This is not the Oscars. This is your recognition, your time. We want to give you each, somewhere between 3 and 5 minutes to just tell us a little bit about yourself. If you want to say some thank yous, if you want to talk about the work that you've been doing, if you want to give an advocacy plug or shout out. We know social workers, this is the moment for you all to tell us whatever you'd like to tell us about yourself and what you've been enjoying about your social work program. So we're going to go ahead and get started today. Our first school is Andrews University. Andrew, and our first student up is our BSW student from Andrews, Hope Malabrigo. And I will say, I apologize if I pronounce anyone's name wrong. Please feel free to correct me either in the chat or call me out when your turn is up. But Hope, you are up first.
That was perfect. You pronounced it perfectly. So it is an honor to receive this award. And so I want to thank you guys. I also want to congratulate and acknowledge the rest of the winners. So a little bit about me. Again, I'm from Andrews University. I work for the Center for Faith Engagement as a student chaplain, where we plan service projects for the community. I am also an intern at the Trauma Center here at Andrews, where we train people in becoming trauma informed because we know how important that is. My social work department is full of great professors who care a lot about us and who never gets tired of teaching us and educating us. So I do want to thank them. Some of them are on here right now. I also want to thank my family and friends who are on here, specifically my mom and dad, because they always support me, encourage me, and motivate me in all things I want to do. And above all, I want to thank God because this whole entire time he's been here along the way, guiding me. And so again, this is an honor receiving this award, and congratulations to us.
Thank you, Hope. And I will say, Hope, you have got a good amount of people who like to shout out on you on social media. You're probably the winner of the tags on our Facebook post so far. So I love to see that. All right, up next is our MSW student from Andrews, Trey Carton. Terry.
Yes, thank you so much. First of all, I know that this will be said quite often, maybe a little bit cliche sometimes. But first of all, I'd like to thank the Lord for all that He's done to get me to this point. I'd like to thank specifically my mom and dad as well. I was actually homeschooled for my all the way up to my high school, my senior high school year, and I know that they made a lot of sacrifices to get me to where I was, and I just want to thank them for that, and also all my friends and family members as well. That they got me. There's a lot of people that got me here this as well. My brother and sister, my wife and her family, they've all made big sacrifices to get me through here in the school, and it's been amazing. So I just want to thank you all so much for this, and I want to congratulate everyone else that's here as well, and that's getting these awards. That I can't wait to hear some more of the other amazing things are happening here. But so we moved up here to Michigan from my she got a job there at Andrews, and so I decided to go back to school and see what I could do. And I learned a little bit more about social work and seeing that there's a lot of jobs in social work, and the fact that I've always liked to help other people. This has just been amazing, an amazing trip to be up here and go through all these, learn all about social work and all the things they do. I've been having a great privilege to be able to have gone on some trips with Andrews and learn about trauma and a lot of these other different types of things we've gone on and done. And I just want to say thanks so much for all these opportunities, and it's an honor to be here with all these other awardees, and I'm sure that there's been a lot in the past, and there'll be a lot more or something. I just want to thank you all for this and the time here. So yeah, thank you all so much.
Okay, thank you, Terry. Up next, we have our student from Calvin University, Jewel Chung.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, I'm Jewel Hannah Chung. I'm representing Calvin University. It's such an honor and blessing to be here, like everyone else were saying, to be alongside such wonderful colleagues, and I'm excited to learn about you guys as well. And it's such a great time of celebration since our class of 22, shout out to our social work at Calvin, since we're graduating at the end of the month. So it's an exciting time to be celebrating. To quickly just introduce some of the projects that I've been working on, I've had the privilege to have my field placement at Mennonite Central Committee in the Washington DC office here. And I've been working on some foreign affairs with North Korea with their advocacy office. And that's been a personal passion of mine since even before becoming a social work student and during my first year of being a freshman. And so it's honestly quite a miracle to be here learning the things that I am. And actually, I'll share a little bit about North Korea since I have the opportunity. But so I think coming into it, there's been a lot of stigma about North Korea as being the enemy or the other of something we have to fight against. And Mennonite Central Committee has an emphasis on peace building and on nonviolence. And to talk about that in the sense of a very nuclearized country it's an interesting time for me to learn what that really looks like and how to not just be caught up in this societal kind of conversation of how to talk about them as the other, but to really see the people on the ground and to see the faces and the stories. And as social workers, how can we see the strengths and how can we collaborate together in serving and being able to reach the populations that we're trying to do. So yeah, that's a little bit of my project. I also want to talk a little bit about a program highlight at Calvin. So there's a lot going on at Calvin University, but something that I've been really proud of is that alumni and current students have been collaborating together to stand with LGBTQIA+ communities during this time. And we're affiliated to the CRC, so there's quite a lot of things happening, but it's great to see that my fellow students are using their voice in such a bold and creative way. So it's quite inspiring, and we're making history. So hooray to us. And I also want to say thank yous first to the best educators and supporters, my professors, Professor Kailama, Venema, Alfred, Huxma, and can't forget Professor Han and Bonnie. You guys, the work you do in front and behind the scenes are what inspire us to be the leaders that we are today. So thank you. I also want to say thank you to my classmates. Some of them are here watching, but look at us, we made it, we're graduating very soon. So you guys sharpen me and really humble me to look at the world in a more fuller way. So thank you to you guys. I also want to say thank you to my mentors who are here and for really seeing me where I am and supporting me to be here today as graduating. That's exciting. And lastly, to my family who are watching near and far in California and in Korea, thank you for being my forever support and my 버팀목. 사랑하고 감사합니다. Sorry, that was long, but thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Jewel. That was fantastic. You know, I think when a lot of people think of social work, they don't think of international relations work. They sometimes have us very pegged into one area. And part of why I love these events is we get to see really the breadth of what you're doing. Social work is spread out over every facet of our communities and our globe. And you all, even at the bachelor's level, it's awesome to see BSW students in those sorts of positions. And if there are ways that NASW can support any of your advocacy work on your campus or any other campuses that may be doing similar work, please feel free to reach out to me. We want to make sure that those voices are elevated as much as possible. Up next, we have our representative from Central Michigan University, Josie Dehaan.
Hi, everyone. My name is Josie, of course. I'm in my senior year of my BSW at Central. And honestly, I don't even know where to begin. I'm very excited to receive this nomination. It is an honor to be recognized by the people you look up to the most. So I think we're all feeling that way. So that's awesome. We appreciate everything that our faculty and mentors have done for us. So what really got me into social work was the idea of medical social work. So that and laughing at the chat, but so that's what really got me passionate. And so I hope to go on and get a master's in both social work and public health to do some micro level medical social work and then move into public health advocacy with health disparities, maternal care, and things like that. So during my time at CMU, I have been able to be the president of the Student Social Work Association, and that has been awesome. Through that, we've kind of been able to implement a campus-wide food drive called Feed CMU. So it's a big competition between different student organizations in Greek life, and all the proceeds go to our on-campus student food pantry. And we're in the middle of that right now, which is awesome. So we have 1 week left and we're already doing pretty good. So that's something cool that I've been able to do at CMU. And my current internship is kind of unique. I'm with the student response team through the social work office, doing initiatives to help support students and just finding ways that we can better support them. And I'm also involved in CMU's Multicultural Academic Student Services Office. And there I'm a success coach for students in one of their scholarship programs called MAC Scholars. So I've done a lot of work with students on campus, and that has been awesome. It's really motivated me to see, other students' experiences and how we're all getting through college and following our dreams. So it's always cool to be together with that. And yeah, next for, I guess, thank yous. My family has been a big support. My siblings have been my rock. My partner, my boyfriend in the chat earlier has always been encouraging me and not letting me shy away from my goals. And that's been awesome. Everyone at the CMU social work office, it's a great, I don't even know how to explain it. They're all just so amazing. Susan Grenberg has been amazing with the Student Social Work Association. Jackie, a member of our staff, loves and supports all of her students with every bone in her body, and it's awesome. And Dr. Schwander, Lisa on here, she has poured so much time and energy and effort into me as a student and as a human being, and that is not something that you can easily repay. So big shout out to her. And yeah, I will move on, but thank you all for being here, students and faculty and nominators. It's awesome to be with you all.
Awesome, thank you. Up next, we have our representative from Cornerstone University, Jessica Rodriguez. Jessica, are you on tonight?
We will circle back to Jessica, and we will move on to our students from Eastern Michigan University. Our BSW awardee is Antronika Alonso. Antronika, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Wonderful.
Alrighty, so my name is Antronika Alonso. I'm from Eastern Michigan University, and like everyone else has stated, this award is such an honor, but it's just amazing to share in the vision of social work and in the vision of like the passion that everyone shares in advocating for different communities. And I've heard like so many different aspects. It was really awesome to hear. I believe her name was Jewel about North Korea. That's just amazing. But just to share a little bit about myself, I'm in the BSW program. I'll also be graduating in April, which is so exciting. And concentrating on working with like children and families. And right now I'm interning with a program at Ypsilanti Community Middle School called Making Youth Matter. It is an amazing, incredible program. This program has really helped me understand like why I'm in social work. I knew from the start that I wanted to be a social worker, but this program has really just like increased my passion in working with children. And I'm at a middle school, and the program is developed to support, advocate for the academic, social, emotional well-being of our students. And I am a mentor of 2 students right now. And just the journey of seeing them grow and develop over this school year has been so rewarding, and it's just really developed a drive in me to continue to push for and advocate for our younger generation. And it has also developed skill building and engagement and advocacy. I've been able to facilitate in a couple groups, develop a couple of community events that we're doing right now. We're trying to develop a career fair for our 8th graders, just to invest in their future and their connection to business owners and professionals in the Ypsilanti community, and that is very exciting. And then I just want to move on to some thank yous. First of all, I see Dr. Hawkins, Dr. Van Zoren, Dr. Kalyn. I'll definitely say that for me, being a student, one of the biggest drives is for me has been people believing in me and seeing just the things that you can do, because sometimes we don't see like what's great within ourselves because we're, you know, always pouring out. But my supervisors, like they have just been incredible in helping push me to be the best that I can be. And I definitely believe that everyone else can say the same for their supports within their internships, within their professional careers, or in their classrooms. I also see my mom, and Mom, you know, I love you so much, and you have been my #1 supporter from day one. And I'm just so grateful that you get to be here. And just thank you to the NASW for allowing us to be awarded this and to continue to shine our light and social work and advocate for. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is our MSW from Eastern, Janine Crawford.
Thank you for the introduction. First of all, I would like to thank Drs. Hawkins, O'Brien, and Van Zoren for noticing my efforts, labor of love, and commitment to excellence. Additionally, I would like to thank the members of NASW for the privilege and honor of being showcased alongside tonight's awardees. Most importantly, though, I'd like to thank God, my children, family, colleagues, and friends for their support during the course of this wonderful journey. Although the task tonight is to acknowledge our accomplishments, my objective is to encourage each of you, as well as myself, to continue to recognize that there is much work to be done. Henry David Thoreau asserted that success usually comes to those who are too busy to be looking for it. And I agree. This recognition took me by surprise because I was too focused on fulfilling the obligations as a Halle social justice scholar, an obligation that had me working to influence educators and school social workers on the importance of implementing trauma-informed practices to help mitigate the effects of maladaptive behaviors and teacher burnout in a post-COVID environment. During my internship at Michigan Medicine, I had the privilege of presenting at the All Women Are Leaders Conference and facilitating a panel discussion on the power of personal narratives. This event proffered alternative perspectives to the hospital staff and helping professionals by admonishing them to view their clients through an empathic lens. I've been busy working to effectuate change in the Washtenaw Intermediate School District by interviewing key stakeholders regarding the necessity for greater staff diversity and accurate cultural depictions and historical accounts of people of color. I've worked to help organize parent support groups where evidence-based practices were imparted in order to equip, empower, and educate families on relationship building techniques that would impact them throughout their lifespans. However, these accomplishments are mere stepping stones and a poignant reminder of the greater work that lies ahead. We cannot afford to rest on our laurels because the social injustice of this world is plentiful, but the agents of change are few, and time is of the essence. The resounding cries of the marginalized, underserved, disenfranchised, and vulnerable serve as a clarion call to action because there is much social work to be done. So if it's success that you're seeking, stay busy. It will find you. Once you've made the decision to roll up your sleeves and put your running shoes on to go do the work that matters most. Thank you so much.
Very well said. Thank you very much, Janine. Up next, we have Ferris State University. I believe our BSW student, Taylor Byington, was not able to make it on tonight, but we just want to take a moment to recognize her. And then moving on to our MSW student, Amanda Coon.
Hi. Well, to start off, to tell a little bit about myself, I go to Ferris State University, but I live a little bit farther away in just a small town. So I'm about an hour from any campus. We have 2 campuses I can attend. So it's definitely been a challenge to make that work and to also find internships that are within driving distance. I've spent a lot of time in the substance use disorder field. I'm also currently working as a case manager for a sobriety court for the 85th District Court, which that's been great, being able to kind of introduce different perspectives and different ideas to the court system. And that's my youngest in the background. I've got a large family, so that will come in my thank yous. And then I've also am doing my final internship with the community mental health, and I'm loving that right now. I've also done an internship at a domestic violence shelter and really enjoyed that work as well. I know that's something I found with social work. Pretty much anything I do, I love it, and then I want to do more, and I want to advocate more and change more. So I know this is just the beginning, and I'm really excited to see where this leads. And so for thank yous, first, my family has been so supportive. Like I said, I have a big family. We have 9 children. So between my husband and the grandmas, they are always helping, whether it's with the kids or listening to me do presentations, or my husband gets to practice my interviewing skills with me and all that fun stuff. So their support and encouragement when I get overwhelmed or feel like I can't keep going has definitely got me through this. And also to my professors that are just always there. Anytime I have a question, or if I'm struggling or feeling down, you know, just whatever is going on, they were there to encourage me and help push me through this. And also to God for just transforming me into the person I am today. And also thank you to everyone here, and congrats to all the other awardees. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. And before we move on to our nominees from Grand Valley, I just want to give the shout out to Janine's really great reading list that was strategically behind her in her speech today. I think that we can elevate any really good reads that we think are important too for the social work field. If folks want to also drop some of those into the chat box, we would love to continue to elevate everyone's kind of enhancement of their own knowledge in the field, especially as it relates to anti-racism work and social work practice. And so I thought there's some really good books that you got on your shelf, Janine, behind you. So thanks for reminding me of that during today's session. But we'll move on to Grand Valley. Our BSW nominee is Marquita Abdirahman.
Hi everyone, my name is Raphael Abdirahman, and I am a BSW student here at Grand Valley State University. I just want to say that I am honored to be receiving this award, and it has truly motivated me to become an even better student and social worker. And congratulations to all the other award recipients. A year ago today, if you would have asked me about what I plan to do with my social work degree, I would have told you that I don't know. It's crazy how much my future goals and aspirations have changed over the last year, and that is thanks to my mentors and support people. I want to begin by talking about my internship experience. I interned at Muskegon Public Defender's Office, where I worked with Deputy Chief Public Defender Amanda and the Director of Holistic Defense, Alonso. These two ladies have played such a big role in shaping the social worker that I am today, so big shout out to y'all. So you must be wondering what a social worker does at a public defender's office. Well, I work alongside attorneys to advocate for indigent clients through addressing underlying issues that may have led them to incarceration. I also consider the collateral consequences a defendant may face due to their interaction with the criminal justice system. Once I finish assessing a defendant's case, I use that information to provide mitigation on behalf of the client and recommend alternatives to incarceration or a reduction in sentencing. I really do love the work that I am doing with the Public Defender's Office so much that I start my full-time position as a holistic mitigation specialist on Monday. I've also been involved in 2 teaching presentations at GVSU. The first one was titled Disrupting Whiteness in Education, and the second one was about public defense in Michigan. Again, thank you, NSW, for this award. I also want to thank the social work faculty at Grand Valley State University. Thank you to my friends and family for the wonderful support that they have given me throughout my educational journey. Thank you for everyone who joined to show me their support. I see you, Dax, Dina, Nura, Dr. Leon, Rahma, Ayana, and Soda. Sorry if I missed everyone. And thanks.
Thank you. Up next, we have our MSW student from Grand Valley, Lorisha Lee.
Hi, how y'all doing tonight? My name is Lorisha Lee. I'm an MSW student at Grand Valley State University. Just to give a little bit about myself, I am a mother of 4. I have 3 sons and 1 daughter. I went to college later on in life when I felt I was ready to come back. I have been going to school for the past, the past 3 to 4 years. And in that time, I've been able to obtain my associate's degree, my BSW, and my MSW. I'm getting ready to obtain my MSW this spring. So I'm very excited about that. I'm very proud of myself. I was told along the way that I wasn't able to do college level work. And I really struggled with believing in myself and being feeling like I was competent and that I was able to do that because I had so many people telling me that the only thing that I was good at was having kids. So I kind of like internalized that. But just to give a little bit about myself, I work as a senior at QCI Healthcare. I'm an administrative graduate assistant in the School of Social Work. I'm an MSW intern at the Center for Women and Gender Equity. Working with women of color, victim survivors, and LGBTQ plus community, providing a safe and brave space with events, programs, and one-on-one meetings with students. Giving me the autonomy and support. So like a lot of like the faculty and staff, I feel like just this program I've been in, the MSW program, I really have gotten the opportunity to be like, use practical skills and really not only just talk about things, but actually like do things. And I have a really non-directive approach. I'm very just laid back and I just kind of go with the flow. So I was kind of nervous. I'm like, oh my God, I don't, people like think that I'm very confident, but I'm really kind of like an introvert. So I was like, hold on, y'all want me to do what? So I was just very shocked and I was just like, hold on. So I did a lot of like proving myself wrong this semester, hosting a lot of events for both the School of Social Work and the Center for Women and Gender Equity. I just had a campus-wide event, the Women's History Month celebration, and I had a really big turnout, and I got a lot of good feedback, both in the community and the college. So I have gotten the opportunity to get out of my comfort zone, leading and using my creativity to bring the student body and community together. Also learning the importance of building human relationships and networking. Also learning the importance of being intentional and walking the walk in the code of ethics and the advancement of human rights and equity. So what I mean by that is just not only, just saying that we believe these ethical values, but actually acting out on them. How are you walking the walk? How are you doing that? Are you volunteering? Are you writing letters? Just like for me, that has been very important for me. Just making sure that I'm not just saying that I care about others and that I'm providing the service, but how am I acting out on those things? So growth is, I had one thing that had resonated with me and I feel like was like very just like touched me, and just like when I was thinking about what I wanted to say today, I was like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. But growth is uncomfortable because you've never been there before. My challenges have not defined me, but have strengthened me. Along the way, I have struggled with the imposter syndrome and the drive to self-actualization. And, just that journey, it's just, we all going through it, right? But just continuing to, trust the process. So thank you today. Thank you to my village. I feel like my village is, continuing to grow. So not only just faculty and staff, but students as well. My family, my kids that keep me going. Just like my support system. I'm very happy that people believe in me. I think somebody else said that, just like believing in yourself is just, you can almost talk yourself out of something. And so just like believing in myself, and then not only when I don't believe in myself, my village believing in me and helping me along the way. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up we have our nominee from Hope College, Marquita Abbott.
Hello, good evening. I am Marquita Abbott. I want to begin with a thank you. Thank you to the creators of this ceremony and allowing space to honor students across the state of Michigan. I am so grateful to be here alongside so many change makers within the social work profession. Looking back on my time at Hope College, I recognize the many trials and tribulations I have faced, but in every memory, I can recall an individual who chose to walk alongside me. If you know me, you know that my passion lies in walking alongside others. I come from a family of 10, and all of us are adopted except the two oldest. So that calls for a pretty chaotic household, but it's filled with a lot of love. My mother is the most gracious and loving individual who always reminds me and my siblings to care for others, regardless of the way society divides us. This has made my love for people grow even stronger over the years. My freshman year of college, I connected with Bethany Christian Services, a child welfare agency, where I pitched my idea for a nonprofit program. My sophomore year at Hope, I was given the opportunity to pilot my program with Bethany Christian Services. My program is called Emmanuel. It is an acronym for Empower, Mentor, Motivate, Advocate, Nurture, Understand, Educate, and Love. Emmanuel is a program specifically designed to walk alongside youth within the foster care system. I recognize the ways in which the child welfare system falls short of providing support to our youth, and Emmanuel is designed to fill in that gap. I have now completed 2 years of walking alongside youth through the Emmanuel program. I am currently in the process of submitting my 501c3 and making it an official nonprofit post-grad. And so I'm really excited about that. It has been a long time coming. While in the social work program at Hope, I have been challenged, uplifted, and motivated. Every idea that I wanted to bring to life, my professors supported me. More specifically, I am so grateful for the support of Dr. Dennis Feaster, who supported me in the creation of a buddy system, pairing students and faculty together during the last presidential election. The goal of the buddy system was to ensure the safety of students of color on campus as we navigate between classes and extracurriculars. I was walking alongside youth on campus and in the community as faculty and staff continuously walked alongside me. I have seen my lowest moments at Hope College, but also my highest. All of this to say, I would not and could not have made it this far without individuals choosing to show up for me. I owe thanks to so many people, but first and foremost, I want to give all thanks to God. I am so thankful for the ways He has ordered my steps and paved the way for me to see my hard work come to fruition. So thank you to my family, my friends, and my mentors. I want to say thank you to the many people who have shown up and chosen to walk alongside me. I appreciate your time, your care, and continuous support. And I cannot say it enough. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. I hope you all are feeling as inspired as I am. We need to be doing more of these for social workers regularly because you all are an awesome group of people, and this is really just fantastic to be able to highlight you all. So before we go on to our next school, we have our next short video from our next special guest. This video is going to be coming from actress and songwriter T-Boz, who you may all recognize from TLC, and she's going to tell a little bit about her experience and interaction with social work and how we changed her life.
Hi, my name is Tvisa Watkins, but you may better know me as T-Boz at TLC. But I just had to set aside time to say Happy Social Work Month in March. That is so amazing that a month is set aside for this because it is so well deserved and so needed. And the 2022 social work theme is "The time is right for social work," and that is definitely true because social work is one of the fastest growing professions in the United States. And that's because you have always been needed, and we continue to need you because you make it possible for children to stay safe. You create new families through foster care and for people like me to adopt. Because I adopted my son and my social worker helped me. And I didn't mean to get emotional, but you also help the mentally ill stay safe. Oh my God, the laundry list. You help veterans, you help older adults keep their golden years golden. And I love my mommy, so I want all her years to be golden. But like I said, my social worker made a difference in my life. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I think that every month should be social work month. I mean, oh my God, you guys should have a whole year dedicated to you. So thank you. And God bless you for all the work that you do.
Thank you. So I agree. It would be great if we would have a whole year to ourselves. But I do hope what you all can take away from today too is please celebrate your people, not just in March, every day, every week, whether that's your coworkers, your colleagues. There's been so many amazing comments today about the people that show up for us every day in our dark moments, in our highlight moments. And I think we can recognize those people more regularly and recognize ourselves for the work that we're doing. Up next is our representative from Kuiper College. Kuiper may be a new name for many of you. I'll say the little fun fact about we have 3 Michigan schools of social work who are in about a 5-mile radius on the Grand Rapids Beltline, Cornerstone, Calvin, and Kuiper, and then Grand Valley's not too much further away from them. But we've got a great little pod of social workers right in a short distance, and we will pull up our Kuiper representative, Abigail Steinmeier.
Hello, everyone. My name is Abby Steinmeier, and I'm a BSc student at Kuiper College. And honestly, it's such an honor to be here with all of you and see all your faces and hear all your stories. And I think that all students who've attended college during the pandemic can confirm that these past couple of years have really not been easy. But I feel like I blinked and then suddenly we're a month away from graduation. I've held a number of roles over the past 4 years that got me to where I am today. For 3 years, I worked with a team working with at-risk youth at a camp and residential setting. I learned really fast that if you want a crash course in meeting people where they're at, a great place to start is working with kids who have no problem calling you a jerk and throwing a rock at you 1 minute and then wanting a hug from you 5 minutes later. I also had the opportunity to work for 3 years in an after-school program in an inner-city school in Grand Rapids, whose main goal was to offer a safe place for kids to go and receive new opportunities for academic success and also not go home to an empty house. And my most recent role was in my internship at the Access Center at the local community mental health agency in Kent County. That gave me insight into the world of advocating for people who have gone through crises in mental health or substance use, and getting them services if they had Medicaid or no insurance. I also couldn't be here without the support of a number of people, the first of which is my cohorts, who have asked me lots of good questions along the way and have pushed me to think beyond my limited perspective at times. I also want to thank the Kuiper faculty for their graciousness and support along with this journey. My family and friends have also been super vital with their support and encouragement. And finally, last but not least, I'd like to thank Professor Hoffman for the hours and hours that she spent with me in her office and for advocating for me and being the biggest cheerleader for all of her students. I'm looking forward to what the future holds, whether it's continuing to work with children to remind them that there are actually safe adults in the world, or advocating for those who have limited access to necessary services, or really I'm open to a lot of things. I'm so proud of this group of social workers that are coming into the field this year, and I'm so grateful to be one of them.
Thank you, Abigail. Next, we are moving on to Madonna University, and we're going to start with our BSW nominee, Holly Stevens.
Hello. I'm honored. I was at work and my professor actually texted me that I got this award, and I was in complete and utter shock. I honestly didn't even know I was nominated. And so firstly, I'm honored and thank you. I want to thank my parents, especially because they have been there for me since day one. Honestly, that's a really long story in and of itself. But I am very honored. Oh, hi, Dr. Miles. Thank you. I don't know if she's on here, but I want to give a shout out to Dr. Glover as well from Madonna University. She has been my teacher since I started at Madonna. She's taught me at least one class every semester. And she's also my field supervisor this year. So shout out to Dr. Glover, shout out Dr. Miles, thank you so much. And thank you to my parents and my family and friends and everybody for their continuous support and love through this entire journey.
Thanks, Holly. Next, we have the MSW representative, Julia Badel.
Hello, everybody. So I'm Julia Badel, and I'm getting my Master of Social Work, and I'm concentrating on working with children and youth, but I'm also receiving my certificate in school social work as well. So I worked in the field for 7 years with a psychology bachelor degree. And with that, I worked at the Westland Youth Assistance Program as a case manager and as the deputy director of the program. So with that, I worked with at-risk youth who were at risk of going into the juvenile justice system. And they gave me so much experience that it really pushed me to want to go back to school to get my master's degree so that I could continue kind of building on the work that I was doing there within the school system. And so I have also been volunteering as a mentor through the Westland Youth Assistance Program for helping at-risk adolescent girls. So I love working with youth. Some people are afraid of working with youth. I love it. I think they're crazy and I love them. So I was terrified to go back to school. I was like, okay, I took time off. I worked, like, am I ready for this? What is happening? Why am I doing this? And I'm going back during a pandemic. Like, what was I thinking? But I can say with certainty that it was the best decision that I made. I'm so proud of myself for going back. I'm crazy excited that I got this opportunity because I really just can't believe it. Same thing, like, you know, with Holly said that I got an email from Dr. Miles saying like, hey, you're getting this award. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Me? What's happening? So really, now that I am getting my master's degree and I'm moving into working in the schools, my goal now is to really enable youth to reach their full potential by working to identify their strengths and reduce the impact of barriers that they are facing, because I really want them to be able to be successful now as well as in the future. So in addition to this, my biggest ambition is to really kind of systematically change the way in which schools function so that there aren't as many gaps in resources between different schools and different socioeconomic status students. So I want to work to kind of implement strategies to build resilience for students as well as protective factors so that they can all have an equitable future. So I'm very grateful for all of my professors at Madonna. I feel like they have really prepared me for what I need in the future. And thank you to my friends and my family for supporting me through this journey, because I know everybody here knows going back to college and getting your master's degree or your bachelor degree can be very, very stressful. So I'm very grateful to them because they've put up with my crazy, stressed things happening. But I am very humbled that I was chosen by Madonna as a graduate student of the year, and to be here amongst everyone who are going to be, you know, our future colleagues. So I know that the last few years for all of us have been challenging and they've been dark, but I know that there are brighter days ahead for all of us. So thank you again.
Thank you, Julia. And that's well stated. Yes, you may be strangers on this meeting today, but you will all be colleagues in a matter of minutes for some of you. So this is a great time to network, and I see lots of folks are dropping their LinkedIns and Facebooks and other things into the chat box. So we hope you'll stay connected after today. And hopefully some of the topics that people bring up may be things that you're also passionate about. So getting connected across the state on some advocacy work would be wonderful, a wonderful outcome from today. Up next is our school down the street from where I am, Michigan State University, and we will go ahead and bring up our MSW student, Emily Cohen.
Hi, everyone. I want to start off by just sharing how honored I am to be the recipient of the 2022 BSW Social Work Student of the Year for Michigan State University, and also congratulate the fellow students here today. The BASW program at MSU has provided me with opportunities to grow both as an individual and a professional. I am truly leaving the program a better version of myself than the anxious freshman who started out as a social work preference student 4 years ago. It is truly hard to put into perspective the amazing experiences I have had along the way. In the last 4 years, I've been able to work as a sexual assault crisis chat volunteer with the Center for Survivors, spend a year as a community engaged scholar, participate on the executive board of the student group Student Advocates for Essential Needs Security, serve on the Dean Student Advisory Committee, work as an undergraduate learning assistant, intern this year with Communities and Schools of Michigan, assist as a counselor with Camp Kesem, and just this afternoon, I presented on my work as a research scholar with Dr. Santiago at the University Undergraduate Research and Arts Forum. Nonetheless, the road has been challenging and only further complicated by a large portion of my BSW experience occurring during a global pandemic. Yet, I was consistently supported by so many people who stood beside me, and this award is equally a reflection of their continued guidance and belief in me as both a student and a person. I want to thank the entire BASW team at Michigan State, especially Lily Bernstein, the student support coordinator, who has been there through countless resume updates, grad school application questions, and weekly meetings long after her work hours as our Student Advocates for Essential Needs Security Group advisor. I truly cannot thank you enough for everything, Lily. My experience has also been filled with professors who encouraged my active reflection, challenged my ideas, and created a learning environment that was ignited by my passions. I owe a huge thank you to every single professor that has been part of my journey. To my classmates who engaged in what felt like endless discussion posts, papers, and late nights, thank you for helping me see diverse perspectives and experiencing this journey with me. To my roommates, friends, and boyfriend, thank you for being there for every high and low, both this year and beyond. To my grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and everyone else who has been like family to me, thank you for always cheering me on along the way. To my big brother, Jake, thank you for also reminding me to enjoy the crazy experience that is college and being the most incredible role model. To my parents who supported the little 4-year-old who confidently told them she was going to live her life when asked about her future, thank you for always letting me live out every big and bold dream that I had, but also never letting me feel like I am in this alone. I owe you both for your wisdom, endless phone calls, and continuous encouragement along the way. I'm extremely thankful for this award, and I'm excited about what is to come in my social work career, as I'll be pursuing my MSW at Michigan State University with plans to become a school social worker. Thank you again.
Fantastic. Thank you, Emily. Up next, we have our MSW from Michigan State University, who is rocking a really awesome bow tie, Sterling Valley.
Hey, everyone. Yeah, thank you, Dwayne, for that compliment. My name is Sterling Bentley. I use he, him, his pronouns, and it is an honor to share space with you all tonight. So my work centers around queer and trans liberation. This often looks like disrupting heteronormativity and cisnormativity in my classrooms, imploring state legislators to protect trans youth and their families, and engaging with change makers like you all to build intersectional grassroots movements. I'm currently the intern for the Consortium for Sexual and Gender Minority Health, where I'm focused on building a community advisory board to assist in the consortium's research efforts. My passion lies in the political and legislative realm of social work, with aspirations of being an elected official someday. In the fall, I hope to hone in on my political advocacy skills as I take part in MSU's Advocacy Scholars Program, where I'll be attending campaign school for social workers and learning from some of the best policymakers in the state. As a first-generation college student who is also queer and trans and from the rural South, I relied on the support and guidance of so many people while navigating the world of academia that wasn't built with marginalized folks in mind. And so I just want to give a shout out to those folks, starting with Dr. Linda Hewitt from my alma mater, and for being the first person to show me the power of radical vulnerability and authenticity. To my nominators, Dr. Carla Pfeffer and Dr. Deirdre Shires for mentoring me and inspiring me every day with their research on queer and trans healthcare. I want to thank my wife, Alex, for all of her affirming love and support, and for always being willing to edit my papers. And to my brother, Dakota, for being a constant source of joy and resilience in my life. And finally, I just want to say thank you to the trans and gender expansive folks who came before me that paved the way for my existence today. I just want to say that I promise to continue the fight for queer and trans futures. Yeah, thank you all for having me, and congratulations to everyone.
Thank you, Sterling. Up next is Northern Michigan University, and we're going to start with our BSW nominee, Melissa Allen.
I would like to start by saying that I'm honored to be nominated by this award. Like many of them, I think it was mostly Morgan hit on like the university, the students, they hit on like being shocked when I got that email. I was at work and I got the email from Dwayne, and then I got it from Anne, my advisor, who's here with me today. And I was like, why? Like, what did I do? But it's an honor to have been nominated, big time. I've always had a passion for social work. I had 2 jobs prior to going to school that kind of fueled me to go to school, both nonprofit, both child welfare and addictions in adolescents up here in the UP. And then my internship right now is at DHS. I am with the foster care and CPS department, and I am shadowing their day-to-day work. And I really hope to continue that journey after my bachelor's degree. And I want to continue on to get my master's. I have this huge goal, and I can't see it actually happening, but my main goal would be to be a former therapist in some realm. So what I want to do after I get my master's, I just want to say thank you to my mom and dad. My professors, specifically shouting out to Lamar Hightower, Alyssa, Kent, and Caroline Chung. They've just really seen me through some really hard things. Just the times I wanted to quit, and they kept pushing me forward, and they have a huge part in my success. So, and I just want to say thank you and congratulations to all of the other nominees. Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa. Up next, our MSW from Northern, Kate Donnell.
Hello, my name is Kate. I live in Marquita, Michigan in the Upper Peninsula. So we're like floating above a lot of you guys with that mighty bridge connecting us. But I just want to express a lot of gratitude, both for this award and then just for, sharing space with everybody today and hearing about all of everybody's hard work and accomplishments in a field that has really just grown to consume a huge part of my heart. I am continuing work in the CMH world, and I've been really fortunate to have experience in the school system as well with youth and families. But I also just want to really express, again, gratitude towards the MSW program, which is new to Northern Michigan University. So it's the 2nd year, and there's faculty that have been working so incredibly hard to build a program for people up here to attend. And, it's a global program too, so people downstate. So I just really want to emphasize their hard work and for trying to create an environment that is diverse and presents a lot of dynamic learning opportunities. I feel incredibly grateful to be a part of that. And I'm looking forward to continuing to do community-based work. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Kate. And Northern is our most recent MSW program in the state, Michigan. We are home to 12 MSW programs and 23 BSW programs. So lots of schools of social work in every corner, although Northern is the only official whole program in the UP. So we're happy that you all are holding down the fort for us in the UP. And then up next is actually our soon-to-be newest MSW program, Oakland University, who will be launching their MSW program this year. And our BSW nominee this year is Sean Mason.
Hello, and thank you so much. Yeah, I'm very excited to be part of the first cohort to go through the MSW program at Oakland University. So really looking forward to getting started. And thank you so much. I am so honored to receive this award. Prior to COVID, I had never taken an online class in my life. So I have to begin by saying that the faculty at Oakland University especially the social work program led by Dr. Maria Bean, has been so helpful and accommodating. As difficult as time as this has been for so many, the faculty at OU have really been there for their students, and I just can't thank them enough for facilitating a great educational experience while dealing with severe challenges. And through everything, of course, I could not have gotten here without the help and love from my amazing wife, Lacey, and all of our family. My journey to social work has been a long one. Starting in the Marine Corps in 2008, I had the opportunity to work with refugees in the Horn of Africa. This experience taught me so much about our potential for resilience and perseverance. It also taught me a lot about my own privilege and how truly blessed I am. Through my experience working in juvenile detention a little bit later, I saw children coming in and out of the criminal justice system. They would come in, they would leave, and all too often they would come right back. Through this, I saw that the problem was not simply the child in the detention center, but in the neighborhoods that they came from, a fact that's still ignored by many municipalities today. This was the critical observation that led me to social work. Treating the individual within the environment in which they live is critical if we're to make change in our clients' lives. Considering the environment, I believe that we all here know that we as a society can't just treat the individual while ignoring those conditions which contributed to their marginalization and oppression. We must be constant and consistent advocates for social and racial justice, not only reacting to injustice, but creating sustainable networks whose aim is tangible and substantive change. Lastly, I think it's important to acknowledge that we are in the midst of a historic time of turmoil, trauma, grief, and loss for so many families. And in these times of great crisis, there are so many who have answered the call for help, including social workers. And I'd like to take a moment to say to all of those serving on the front line of this crisis today that we see you and we thank you from the bottom of our heart. I'd like to thank you all very much for your time today. And congratulations to the other award recipients this evening. This really is a great honor for me and my family. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Up next is Saginaw Valley State University and our BSW nominee, Georgie Bebo.
Hello, everyone. So I'm Georgie, and a little bit about my time here at SVSU. I have had the opportunity to be a part of the student social work organization my whole time being here. And then this past year, I was nominated to be the membership coordinator, which was an awesome experience for me because I got to really connect and network with all of the social work students here at SVSU. So that was awesome. And just kind of for thank yous, I have a huge thank you to my mom because she is also a social worker. So I remember kind of being younger and always hearing the stories about what she does for a living. And I just knew from that point on, like, that's what I want to do, and I'm very passionate about being in this career. I also want to give a shout out to all my family members also, because they have been a huge support for me throughout my time in college, and they're going to continue to be a big support for me when I go on to get my master's. Another shout out and thank you to my friends who have been a huge support system for me and always giving me those little reminders to take a break and practice some self-care because it's very important. And then lastly, I just want to give a huge thank you to the professors that I've had at my time here. I know that there's a couple here, Teresa specifically. She's been an awesome professor, and all the professors I've had, they've been amazing and teaching me and giving me the knowledge that I need in order to be a good and competent social worker. So I really appreciate them and everyone else. And a huge congratulations to all the students that are being awarded tonight. And yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Georgie. Next, our MSW student from Saginaw Valley, Mark Bender.
Hi there, I'm Mark. Thank you. Just a little bit about my experience at SVSU. My first internship, I was given the unique opportunity to be part of a team that really helped revitalize our LGBTQ program and services office. More or less when the COVID hit, it was kind of dropped for the time being. It wasn't a major concern. So when I started my internship, it was right on the cusp of us returning to in-person learning, but also navigating not being able to have actual in-person group programming. Yeah, just that unique challenge, and being able to still connect with students and serve that population. Most recently, I've spent the last 8 months at a domestic violence and sexual assault service center in Midland. And part of my work there has been working with survivors and learning from them, learning about their resiliency and just how much they want to better their lives. Part of my experience there, I was able to be part of a team that wrote a grant that is seeking to expand our housing services. And this would expand to a total of 5 counties in mid-Michigan, mainly rural counties. So helping survivors who have transportation barriers, but still need to be able to seek safe and adequate housing. I want to thank the faculty and staff who had nominated me for this award. They've been incredibly supportive and so flexible through all of this pandemic. I did not anticipate starting grad school and having a global pandemic at the same time. So having their support has just been amazing. Members of my cohort, we have all pushed each other towards excellence and challenged each other and just been so supportive. I also want to thank my friends and family. They've been a major source of support over the last 2 years. We've sacrificed a lot of time together for me to complete homework and go to internship and just so many meetings. And I'm especially grateful for my partner. He has seen the true high and lows and all the moods that go along with being a master's student. And he has dealt with me through all of that. There were times I thought about quitting and he's like, no, you need to keep going. And he just pushed me forward. So I'm just really thankful for all those people. And congratulations to everyone else.
Thank you, Mark. Up next, we have Spring Arbor University and our BSW representative, Sarah Hubbard.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Hubbard. I'm very humbled to receive this award. I want to thank my supportive family, my mom, my brother, and my boyfriend for encouraging me and helping to shape who I am. I also want to thank all my professors who have reminded me over and over again that redemption is always possible. My dad died during my junior year after being sick for 5 years, and it was my first year at Spring Arbor since I transferred from a community college, and all my professors were just so supportive and loving, and they really helped to see God working in my life. I grew a lot through my classes there, and I cannot imagine where I would be if I hadn't gone to Spring Arbor. The community there is unlike any other, and I'm just so grateful for Spring Arbor. The past couple of years has been really hard for my family, and I'm grateful for the blessing of Spring Arbor. My professors have challenged me, and I can really tell that they care. I'm a better person because of Spring Arbor, specifically professors Dr. Sarah Bartson, Kurt Hoffman, Bonnie Holliday, Sandra Stevenson, and Jerry Walden, and many others at Spring Arbor. I'm proud to be a social worker among these great people. I'm currently doing my internship in foster care at a private agency, and I'll be working there as a licensing specialist after I graduate with my BSW. I plan to do my master's at Spring Arbor as well, starting this July, and hopes to become a counselor and eventually work in ministry. Thank you so much for this award.
Thank you, Sarah. Next up is our MSW rep from Spring Arbor, Danielle Reddick.
Hi, everyone. So just a little bit about me. My name is Danielle Reddick. I obtained my Human Development and Family Studies bachelor's degree from Bowling Green State University. I am a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated and serve as an undergraduate advisor. I'm a full spectrum doula. I am the founder of Tiny Hearts Remember Inc., nonprofit organization for women like myself who have experienced pregnancy and infant loss. I'm an intern at Big Brothers Big Sisters of Northwestern Ohio, and I am a godmother of 2. My career aspiration is to become a school social worker in the underprivileged area due to the love that I have for children and just wanting to be that positive support system for them and push them to greatness despite the thanks. First, I would like to give thanks to God just for giving me the strength and guidance to navigate each and every day. Despite all of the trials that I had to endure during my first year as an MSW student, He has kept me and reassured me that His plan is greater than any plan that I could have ever thought of. This honor did catch me by surprise, but I am thankful nonetheless. Thank you to my cohort and classmates for being there for the laughs, life hurdles, and encouragement, especially Professor Emily Dixon, Professor Patrice Barden, Professor Randy Baxter, and all of SAU faculty who believed and encouraged me, and for just creating a safe space for us to learn and grow organically. I'm blessed to have been chosen to be accepted into a school that truly cares about their students and their success while loving and honoring God. Thank you to my family, friends, and sorority sisters for being supportive and understanding all the sacrifices I had to make, all the events I had to miss, and just reminding me of my end goal. I want to thank my field instructors and liaison, Liz Watson, Amanda S., and Jill Morton for always being there for me professionally and personally, and just noticing my hard work and dedication while finishing up my internship. I want to say thank you to my boyfriend just for being there from the very beginning, noticing my growth, sacrifices, dedication, and just always reminding me to just breathe because I got this. I love, value, and appreciate all of you. Lastly, I want to say thank you to NASW for this opportunity, and congrats to everyone tonight and the love that you have for social work and wanting to make a difference.
Thank you, Danielle. Up next, we have the University of Detroit Mercy BSW nominee Megan Davis.
Hello, everyone. My name is Megan Davis. I am proud to be University of Detroit Mercy's BSW Students School Social Worker of the Year. What a recognition. I'm excited to be graduating this May. I am immediately pursuing an MSW degree with a dual title in infant mental health at Wayne State University. Understanding the family dynamic is my passion. I look forward to interning at the Children's Center this fall as an infant mental health student social worker clinician. Currently, I am a proud intern at the Noah Project in downtown Detroit. I have gained experience in the field by working with the homeless population in my hometown of Detroit. Here, I have learned about the challenges associated with homelessness and how together we can better serve our community. This experience has been immersive, challenging, and fulfilling. I work with a team of amazing social work leaders within this agency that support my learning experience, my mental health, and my competency in social work. I am so excited to be in this position and in this space with other student social workers. Congratulations to you all. A big thank you to University of Detroit Mercy School of Social Work faculty. I have received an abundance of support, leadership, and guidance from Dr. Janet Joyner, Aloha Van Camp, and Dr. Nicholas Davis. Collectively, these professors have provided me a solid foundation in the social work profession. I appreciate the small class sizes and extra attention that's provided to their students. I feel well prepared to pursue my MSW because of this institution. I always keep my code of ethics books with me while interning. I remember Dr. Jordan stating to always keep my code of ethics book with me handy in case I come across any type of dilemma that I may question. Dr. Nicholas Davis, thank you for nominating me for this prestigious award. Thank you for seeing my potential and eagerness in the classroom and within the community. I am forever grateful for this opportunity. To be thought about and recognized has increased my drive and confidence in becoming a competent social worker. Thank you for providing a safe and encouraging classroom setting. To my husband, who have made many sacrifices up to and including letting me resign from my full-time employment to pursue my education. I love you. Thank you. To my friends and family who are attending this call tonight, thank you for supporting me in your own individual and specific way. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. And before you unmute, I have a quick question for you. So you mentioned the small class sizes. I believe that the University of Detroit Mercy is the smallest social work cohort in the state. How many students do you all have in your class?
I'm not for sure, but I know for sure for all my classes, I've had the same professors, even serving as my advisors, but it is a very small program, very intimate, and definitely prepared me. But I don't know, if maybe 15, maybe.
Sounds about right. Yeah. And when we think about the social work landscape in the state, we have small programs that have, between 12 and 20 students in a whole cohort to class sizes of 400 to 500 in a class. So we have a huge range here in Michigan. And I always just like to highlight University of Detroit Mercy, and Siena Heights is another one of our smaller campuses who couldn't be here today. Thank you. All right, so before we go on to our next awardee, I want to play our last little celebrity video for today. And this is actor, comedian, and writer Alex Mappa. You may have seen him on several TV shows, but I'll bring that up really quick.
Hey, happy Social Work Month. I'm Alec Mappa. You might know me from Ugly Betty, Desperate Housewives, Doom Patrol, now playing on HBO Max, or my many appearances as a guest judge on RuPaul's Drag Race. Happy Social Work Month. I want to thank you for all the work that you do. This year's theme for Social Work Month is "The Time is Right for Social Work," and it couldn't be more fitting. Social workers, I don't need to tell you this, help people overcome crises like mental illness, addiction, sickness, or the challenges of aging. Wow. But they also help bring joy and fulfillment into people's lives. They help people realize their full potential. And social workers, you've certainly done that for our family. My husband and I, 12 years ago, were adopting out of the California foster adopt system. And if it weren't for the social workers, our family would not have happened. Full stop. Here's what happened. In November of 2009, our social worker at the agency we were working with presented us with a case. It was a 5-year-old boy. He'd been in the foster care system for nearly 2 years. And they said he was funny and affectionate and playful and had a very distinctive voice. The social worker said, we always know when he's in the office. So they showed us a picture. And we said, that's our baby. That's our kid. When can we meet him? And they said, this week. And we're like, oh my God, this week it's Thanksgiving. We have to buy a bed. We got to get everything. We got to get this house into ship shape. Well, they called us the next day and they said the judge has decided that Zion, the kid we were talking about, would be better off with a placement with a blood relative. And so we were out of the picture. So Thanksgiving was terrible. Christmas was awful because we felt that we had missed out on somebody extraordinary. We don't know why, we just had this feeling in our bones. So much so that in January, when the social worker, our social worker, presented us with another case, we said, you know what, we don't feel the same way about this kid as we did about Zion. And our social worker said, hold on 1 second. Let me call Zion's social worker. Find out what his situation is. We'll call you back in 5 minutes. She called back 5 minutes later and said the placement with Zion's blood relative has been a complete disaster. You have to come pick him up tonight at 6. So we ran straight to Target. We got the kid seat for the car and we strapped it in and we drove to Long Beach to Child Protective Services, excuse me. And our kid was sitting there, Zion, 5 years old, between 2 bags. One had all of his toys and one had all of his clothes, and he was just sitting in between these 2 bags like another bag of stuff that somebody just dropped off and forgotten. And I remember thinking, no kid should ever be made to feel this way. And we took him home. We took him home that day, and we got to adopt him 9 months later. And if it weren't for the social workers, we would have never met our son. That's him 12 years ago when he was 5. He's now 17 years old and about to go into driver training. So during Social Work Month, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for all the hard work that you do with all the clients and all the cases. And for all the work that you do, I want to tell you that you are seen, you are heard, you are acknowledged, and you are appreciated. We love you. So thank you. We're so grateful for social workers in our lives, the ones who've helped us and the ones who've held our hands throughout this entire process, and the ones that continue to do the hard work everywhere. Thank you. Happy Social Work Month.
Thank you, Alec. It's really nice to see recognition for our field outside of our own people, whether that's legislative support, celebrity support, media support. And I will say, working at NASW, I think the last 2 years has been the most representation of social work I've ever seen publicly for our field. Folks are starting to really understand that mental health is important, right? Nobody can say over the last 2.5 years that they haven't been impacted by depression, grief, loss, anxiety, all of the above, right? And so we're starting to really get that larger sense and need for social workers at all levels. And where we hope that you all will continue to advocate with us and for us as a profession is as we push for workforce initiatives, for student loan forgiveness, for higher salaries, for better working conditions, all of these things that we know really impact our field. It's going to be the next kind of phase of social work advocacy that you'll see over the next couple of years, I believe. But we really appreciate the work that you all have been doing over the last 2.5 years. And being a student on top of that, we know that you all have been resilient beyond resilient during that phase. So we'll continue on with our ceremony with my alma mater, the University of Michigan, and I'd like to welcome Bailey Castillo.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to start off by saying congratulations to all of you. It's an honor to be recognized amongst all of you fabulous social workers, future social workers, all of you together. I'd like to say thank you to the University of Michigan for the educational and professional opportunities they've provided, to the Global Activities Office and my program director, Katie Lopez, for her patience and trust in me these past 2 years. My field placement through the university led me to take a brief pause in school for the most transformative professional opportunity, leading processing programs on a rural base in Wisconsin as part of the Afghan evacuation response, and I couldn't be more grateful. Without U of M, the life-changing experience wouldn't have been possible. And I look forward to graduating this month and continuing to use my education and experience to serve displaced populations around the globe. Thank you all, and congratulations again.
Thanks, Bailey, and go blue. Up next, we have University of Michigan Flint with Patricia Woodside as our BSW nominee.
Well, thank you so much. Right off the bat, I want to thank Professor Todd Womack and Professor Macias, because when they experienced a problem with their computers, they said, you want to have a backup plan. So tonight I had an unstable connection, and I'm just so grateful for their advice because I had to grab my phone. Thank you all for your kind and generous welcome. As I was introduced, Patricia Woodside, I'm thankful for the University of Michigan and this nomination. When I heard about it, the first thing I said was, this is not an individual award. This award is recognition to a number of people. And so I want to thank all of them. And as I said, Professor Womack, you said it. You'll be in the middle of a presentation, your capstone, and you need to have a backup plan. So thanks, Professor Womack and Professor Macias. All of you have been so wonderful to me. And I recently, when I found out about the award, Dr. Sapna Thwaite said, oh, by the way, I'm going to give you a heads up. You're going to hear from our communications department. Okay, I just nod and smile. But it was a great opportunity for me to share my story when Lindsay, I think her name was Knack, in the communications department for Dr. Snyder. And she said, I would like to know why or how you got into social work. And I said, you know, I didn't really choose social work, it chose me. And well, how is that? You know, how does that happen? I said, well, you think about how involved you are in your daily lives, right? Social work, you're advocating for others, maybe your children, maybe at work, maybe at church. You're linking friends to resources, and that can be food, the Wolverine Food Den. You can be volunteering at the food bank and or actively campaigning for a community representative. I remember walking in parades. Now I'm going to date myself a bit, but with Dale Kildee, right? So today I can say I support Dan Kildee too. So there's that state and federal government. It's all a big piece of who we are. And if it isn't and you're unhappy, then that's why you get involved. My life is linked to everyone else. While living in Genesee County, I could make a difference as a resident, not a tourist. And social work is a collective knowledge of people and systems where a person's strengths and gifts can be utilized to benefit others. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to be in social work. And for this season in my life, I am just so blessed, and I am so directed by so many people that see my enthusiasm for the field. I live near the University of Michigan in Flint, and so I felt like this was divine intervention. I sat in the parking lot, I took a deep breath, and I prayed like so many of you others that, oh God, if this is your will. I took another deep breath and I said, Lord, make a way for me to pay for my education. And then I prayed another little prayer that said, and if I am in the right place, you need to help me make it right. Not perfect. I'm not expecting perfect grades, but that would be nice if you could help me make it through that step. I was grateful for the location of the university. It was so close to where I lived, convenience. It was like there was no reason to consider going anywhere else. Just I kind of had a few excuses here and there. Just let me take action. So it happened. And while I was doing all of that contemplating, I did some research. I want to share with Dr. Woojong Kim for helping me learn about evidence-based practice. She also revealed to me many other areas of importance to social work, but I found out on my own that the university adhered to the Council on Social Work Education, and that the CSWEs, as we all know now, are core competencies. And the university also was really strict in adhering to the National Association of Social Workers Code of Ethics. Right outside the door to the social work department was a sign-up sheet. I was introduced to the NASW early on, and so I knew then I had to sign up, I had to become a member, and I was home. I am a Wolverine. The connection between my learning, this was another question that the young lady, while she was interviewing me, she asked me about my learning and the university. And I told her it had been very fruitful. Introductions were made to community agencies, policymakers, global studies, social welfare programming, and the enhanced programming, I have to say, included a phenomenal internship at the Genesee Health System with an amazing site director, Nancy Kirsch. I'm going to give a shout out to her. So She had an energy about her that she knew where her intern should be. And I found a home. I won't get into all of that, but I want to shout out to Lisa McKernan and also to Amy Johnson. They were very attentive task supervisors, and all of this with the new improved methods of instructing during a pandemic. I'm just going to give one real, well, maybe two, Dwayne. I'll take 2 seconds here. My volunteer work includes working with the Gift of Life of Michigan. And so that's including some help with volunteering at Gift of Life, donor registration, directing others to the Gift of Life website or at the Secretary of State, signing folks up to the donor registry. This is where I'm going to take that liberty. Dwayne said we could talk about our books. And this is Change Sings. And this is a book that I read to my little. So I'm an advocate of big brothers and big sisters. Hope I didn't take too long, but I appreciate you working with me through this crazy connection. But I'm glad that I was able to thank all of you with my whole heart. I love you all. You're just amazing. And it's great to be here with you all this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. And I know we can all relate to a technology issue happening sometime over the last couple of years and trying not to freak out while we get back into whatever we're trying to do. I hope you all are really feeling the love, not just from who is on the call today, but from those who are in your circles, whether they're present or not. I had the luxury of talking to Patricia's class earlier this week about macro social work, and you could just tell, I mean, it hadn't been announced that Patricia won, or she didn't announce it yet to the class, but as soon as that knowledge kind of went, the class, you could just tell, was right on board, sending the love, and I know your cohorts are doing the same thing for you. Know that you've got people that love you, that support you, that have your back at all times, and you all have mentioned some of those people, but I bet there are more people that look up to you than you even recognize, and those are those folks that may sit in your classrooms and you may never have even talked to, but you're leading by example by being that inspiration on your campus. So with that, we're going to move on to our Wayne State Warriors, and our first of our 2 BSW recipients is Damon Creighton.
Hello, my name is Damon Creighton. I'm a BSW senior here at Wayne. And first, I'd like to congratulate all the other recipients. You guys have had some incredible stories to hear about this evening. And then first, I want to thank my family. I see some of them are in here. They've been an incredible support in my life and just throughout this whole college process. So a big thank you to all of them. And then next, I would like to thank the School of Social Work, all the faculty. Specifically, I see some of you guys in here, my advisor, Jeffrey Jones, Dean Kubiak, the assistant dean, Dr. Najor Durak, and my Professor One, who's not here, but they've had such an incredible impact on me throughout this program. And also a big thank you to my peers who have helped me grow along this journey. And we've really done everything to make such a big difference in being student leaders, and it's really elevated and inspired me to become the vice president of the Association of Black Social Workers at our university. And I shout out to the president, who's also coming up a little bit after me. So we're holding it down on here. But I think a big theme that I really want to encapsulate while I was here was peer advocation and support, because I spent my time as a peer mentor within the community, and along with my placement where I mentored first-year college students. And I hope to take that with me as I continue my education and the welfare of children and families at the University of Michigan. And as a student who has been battling with an invisible disability throughout my college experience, I've really wanted to use my platform to advocate for disability awareness and justice, and really speaking about that whenever I could. And that's another thing that I really want to take along with me in my journey. And I just really want to pass this wisdom and help on to the next generation of children. So once again, thank you so much for this incredible honor. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Damon. Our second BSW from Wayne State University is Kristen Prozalowski.
Hi, my name is Kristen. I'm from Wayne State University, and I'm representing within the BSW program. And I just want to say I am so inspired by hearing all of these wonderful stories and hearing the work that people are doing within their schools. And honestly, there's some work that I've heard of that I didn't even know was possible. So it's really so amazing. And I'll get to my thinkies later, but first I want to talk about, I guess, how I got here. And I was honestly very shocked getting this award, because in my first year in the BSW program, I feel like I didn't do much as I did in the second part. But in the second part, it was kind of like I was noticing as a queer social worker, seeing, I guess, the lack of, community that there was after the pandemic. And I really wanted to see more of that. And that's how I began to create the Social Work Queer Alliance with my partner, Tina Zarilli. And it was just such a wonderful experience, because I had never led anything in my life. I'm just never wanted to put myself in that position, but I truly am so passionate about the lives of LGBTQ youth and adults and individuals, and providing education for the community. And that's been a big part of what we have done. And in the beginning, it was about support, and that's kind of where we started. And then we kind of started to branch out into advocacy and education. And just to touch on one event that we did recently, it was on navigating religion and queer identity. And that is a huge topic. And I feel like it's a huge topic that comes up even in recent times. And just to have a little advocacy kind of moment to shine light on the struggles that especially trans youth are going through right now, and all of these bills coming out against them and kind of limiting their ability to, get certain gender affirming surgeries and all these different things that are just like it's so crazy what's going on in the world right now, and how we feel like sometimes we're going backwards. But I'm so happy to hear that there are people here that are doing the good work, and it makes my heart feel so warm, and it makes me feel a little bit better about the state of the world, because sometimes you can get caught up in the negativity, depending on where you are, and I guess with social work. But to say a few thank yous, I definitely want to say a huge thank you to the people who helped me create the Social Work Alliance, which is my wonderful advisor, Andre, and then Professor Weinman, which he's not here today, and then also all the other faculty that have been so supportive as well. And I would also just like to thank my wonderful friends that I've made throughout the program as well. They've been wonderful. And I'd also like to thank my partner again, Tina Zarilli, and my parents for helping me get through this all and be so supportive every time there's been, a moment where, the accomplishment or whatever. It's just like so wonderful having their support and, really helping me stay afloat during all this craziness of the last few years that we've had. And one last shout out I just want to give is to my other friends in the program that have done wonderful work. And I just want to say their names in recognition. Samantha Dwornik, my partner Tina again, Tina Zarilli, Austin Ash, Jayla Harston, and so many of my other wonderful friends at Wayne State University have done such wonderful work, and their work does not go unrecognized, and neither does all of yours. So thank you so much, and I appreciate this award a lot.
Thanks, Kristen. Up next, we have our first MSW at Wayne State, and that is Stacy Wagon.
Thanks, Caitlin, and good evening, everyone. As Caitlin said, my name is Stacy, and I'm currently finishing up my MSW at Wayne State. I'll share a little bit about my journey with you tonight. It's definitely been a long and bumpy road. Wayne State is the third college I've attended, and social work was my 7th major. After high school, I didn't really have any idea where I wanted to be or what I wanted to be doing, but I did know one thing: I wasn't going to go to a large school in a big city with 27,000 students. I was going to be just a number and nobody was going to know who I was. Well, fast forward a few years, here I am, and I assure you, I was very wrong. I'd like to thank the Wayne State School of Social Work for allowing me to be part of your community. I appreciate all of the faculty, professors, advisors, and field instructors who did in fact know my name. A few in particular that have stood out: Professor Jun-Sung Hong, thank you for always greeting every single student by name in every single class. I've never felt more noticed in my life. Talk about creating an inclusive and welcoming environment. To Karen Weiner, thank you for urging me to get involved with our learning community, which I'll tell you a little bit more about in a second, and telling me to get out of my own way. I'm still working on that one, but maybe getting better. To Professor Judith Weinman, my LC supervisor, for spurring my interest in macro practice and always telling me, yes, great idea, we should do something, which is very refreshing coming from a background where, you always can't do things, or there aren't the resources or the support to do them. She is truly a champion of student voices on campus. To Andre Adapalo, our student activities coordinator, for always connecting all of the dots and making sure events go off without a hitch. Thank you for your positive affirmations and words of encouragement. Your emails never fail to make my day. So a few highlights from my work. One of the major projects I've been working on this school year is leading our social work peer support learning community. The learning community program is all about creating community among students and providing the connections and resources needed to support student wellness, academic success, and improve retention and graduation rates. We offer individual peer mentoring appointments, support groups, and also coordinate student events and activities. This has become even more vital during the COVID-19 pandemic, with a large portion of classes taking place virtually. It is no secret that burnout rates are high in this field, so it has been great to be able to support one another and integrate self-care into our practice as students. There seems to be this myth that getting a social work degree is easy. I've been told my career choices are not very ambitious, but I'm pretty convinced that the people who say this must not be very familiar with social work or what social workers actually do. I'm not sure what's easy about looking at the structural inequalities that have oppressed people throughout history, hearing about the trauma that so many of us have experienced, and wanting to help others, but not having the resources or power to do so. Oh, and somehow also managing your own mental health in the process. This is definitely hard, this is needed, and we will get through it together. In that realm, I'd also like to thank and congratulate all of my peers at Wayne State. I'm really not sure how I got chosen for this award because all of your work blows me away every day. It is nothing short of inspirational, and I'm so excited to see the difference you all will make in the future. And finally, thank you to my parents who are on this call tonight. Thank you for not giving up on me and believing in me more than I believe in myself. Thank you for planning ahead to fund my education because, let's be honest, an MSW is out of reach for a lot of people. I will never forget that privilege put me in this spot and allowed me to get an education in the first place. Going in, I thought that a social work degree would make me more empathetic, a better listener, more compassionate. And in some ways it has, but the biggest thing I'm leaving with is anger. I'm angry at all of the injustices that exist in the world, most of which my K-12 education failed to mention. I'm angry at the policies that limit the services I'm able to provide to my clients. I'm angry that it's 2022 and racism, homophobia, sexism, et cetera, are still running rampant. Moving ahead, I'm not really sure where this degree will take me, but I see no shortage of work that needs to be done. I've never really fit nicely into a box, and quite certain I never will. Some of my interests are human-animal environment interactions, expressive therapies, and experiential and outdoor education. Those things always seem very dreamy and out of reach, but perhaps they're not. How cool that social work allows you to integrate your personal and professional interests, and maybe just change the world in the process. Thank you again for this award and your time. I'm very honored to be here, and congratulations to all the other recipients.
Thank you, Stacy. I think we can all feel your words and can relate to everything you just said. I think social workers, we work best when we live in a perpetual state of anger. Sometimes it's when we can keep our focus on the work that needs to be had. And you probably see me now popping onto the phone. So just like Patricia, I had my own tech issues today, so now I'm on in two capacities. So that's why you may be seeing me just as a phone message. But our second MSW from Wayne State is Ayana Yet. Ayana.
Hello, everyone, and good evening. I want to say congratulations to all of those who are being awarded tonight for the many works that we have done together to bring empowerment to our communities, programs, and universities. I'm so proud of you and your brilliance, advocacy, and perseverance. I want to first and foremost thank my creator for guiding my journey, even to the point of me being here with you all this evening. I want to share my deepest gratitude to my parents, my partner and his family, my mentors, my Wayne State people, so Dean Kubiak, Anwar, and all of my professors that I just give so much to, and the rest of my Wayne State community and home community for all the love and support they ground me in, the rooms that they say my name in, and the doors they hold open for me to walk through. I am a community-focused dual title Master of Social Work and Infant Mental Health dual title student at Wayne State University. I'm a Black feminist, a future social entrepreneur, a puppy mom to an amazing little Yorkie Terrier. And for those who love personality tests, I am an INFJ personality and an Enneagram 8. Powerful personalities. As a recognized Black women scholar activist, I center liberation work to uplift the voices, lived experiences, and healing practices employed by Black women and girls that promote resilience when overcoming trauma. I am an Albert Schweitzer Humanitarian Fellow with Authority Health, through which I implement a community healing project entitled Project Metamorphosis with the Sasha Center, a powerful Black woman-founded grassroots organization here in Detroit that provides culturally specific sexual assault services for holistic healing and awareness for the Black community. The Sasha Center is where I call home, and I'm so thankful for you, Kalima, who is the founder and the executive director of the Sasha Center, for modeling how to show up authentically with all that I bring as a Black feminist social worker, doing healing work specifically for Black women and girl descendants of American enslaved Africans. I am so honored for your mentorship, especially as I follow your steps as a past awardee of this very recognition. The wonderful environment of support fostered by Wayne State School of Social Work has empowered me to serve as the president of the Association of Black Social Workers, alongside with Damon Creighton, who you heard is my vice president and my partner in crime. And shout out to our beautiful support system with Jeffrey. Love you so much for all that you do. And I'm so honored to also serve as the first ever chair of the historic African American Coalition in my hometown, Sterling Heights, Michigan, which is also the first of its kind in Macomb County. At Wayne State, we all show up for each other fully in who we are, and I love that the best about us. Overall, as a walker of this earth, I place great value in my impact on my community, especially when promoting cultural and community wellness and empowerment for all. I have not reached all the levels that I have without my community, and I hold dear to me the philosophy of Ubuntu, a Zulu proverb that means, I am because we are because I am. I am so excited for all of us to be awarded for our trailblazing activity. And I want to uplift everyone here tonight by saying, I see you, I'm here beside you, and I'm excited for the change that us social workers are collectively working together to engender a world liberated from systemic oppression. Thanks so very much.
Thank you. Okay, up next, last but not least, Western Michigan University, our BSW student, Danielle K. Hughes.
Hello, I'm Danielle. I am the BSW student from Western Michigan University. I am going to be also an MSW student at Western Michigan University starting in July. And I am concentrating in policy planning and administration in the advanced standing program. I was shocked when I was told that I was nominated for this award because I had never heard of the award before. And like, it was just a lot of different emotions, one right after the other. Like Damon, I am also a student with invisible disabilities. And while that can be hard, I do realize that I also do have a certain privilege and that people can't tell that I am disabled unless I speak about my disability. And so I want to take that energy and put it into disability advocacy as something that I am extremely passionate about. And I would say for my thanks, I would like to thank my husband for allowing me to just continue working to focus on my senior year of school. And honestly, I would like to just the hugest of thanks to my entire cohort. They have managed to come together, even though it has been so hard to do so without being on campus regularly. And they have just made a tremendously welcoming environment. And it's been just truly a wonderful experience. I've also had wonderful experiences with the faculty at Western and would love to give a huge shout out to Dr. Linda Reeser, who's here. She is my policy instructor as well as the head of the BSW department. And I thoroughly enjoy my classes with her. I enjoy discussing policy and the insight that she has provided me. And a tremendous shout out to Dr. Jennifer Harrison, who I do not believe is here, who is the interim director of the School of Social Work, as well as my supervisor at my internship at Goal Scaling Solutions. She has provided inspiration to me, guidance, and every difficulty that I have come across in my personal life or my academic life, she has been there to support me and to help me move through it. And I just do not know how I would have done all of this without her. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, Danielle. Our last student we'll be honoring this evening is Taylor West, our MSW student from Western Michigan University.
Thank you all so much. Let me just start off by saying how this is the highlight of my week, to be in a Zoom room surrounded by so many monumental revolutionaries that continue to amaze and expand the social work field. And for those who know, this is not an easy field to be in. It takes much courage, resilience, and passion to wake up every day and choose to serve others. My passion for service is motivated by my own experiences and optimism for a unified future. After obtaining my BSW from Western, I searched desperately for some type of direction for future success. In connecting with one of my mentors within the School of Social Work, she advised me to apply at places other than Western, as other institutions would provide a different level of challenge that I was craving. But man, let me tell you, completing WMU's accelerated program, completing 39 credit hours, graduate credit hours, 5 credits a semester in 1 year was definitely a challenge. My graduate experience at WMU, although tough, strengthened my passion, skill set, and network. Completing my field placement at the Kalamazoo Defender's Office opened my eyes to the possibility of holistic defense becoming a national model. I was in awe working closely with attorneys and community partners to provide trauma-informed care and advocacy in an oppressive and punitive criminal justice system. This exposure satisfied my learning experience as an aspiring attorney, wanting to transform the justice system, but understanding the systemic barriers to accessing resources, i.e. the very known housing epidemic in Kalamazoo, leaves more opportunity for learning and advocacy. Serving as a graduate assistant for the Lewis Walker Institute on WMU's campus complemented the work at the Defenders tenfold. We launched a pilot program geared towards teaching juvenile youth fellows about advocacy and developed a Justice for Gun Violence Task Force to reduce gun violence in Kalamazoo. These experiences built my confidence in my ability to influence, inspire, and advance the Kalamazoo community. This year's award theme, "The Time is Always Right for Social Work," resonates highly with Dr. Martin Luther King's dream. In his second public appearance after winning the Nobel Peace Prize, Oberlin College welcomed King to speak on October 22nd, 1964. His speech on the future of integration was heard by an estimated 2,500 students, faculty, and visitors. We all continue to push Dr. King's legacy through our work in social work. Similarly, with those students listening to Dr. King's speech live, his words have guided my path this year, as there was never a moment where advocacy and compassion wasn't needed. This year's MLK events at WMU, hosted by the Walker Institute, highlighted the exact same theme, encouraging members of the community to lead with courage, compassion, and collaboration. You can see now that these are more than just words, but an ode to action. Without the emotional support of my family, friends, supervisors, professors, classmates, and co-workers this year, I surely would have lost sight of this dedication. I am continuously inspired and thankful for the environment around me. Thank you to Dee Sherwood for this nomination, and thank you NSAW's election team for this recognition. I will continue to inspire and transform as you all have set amazing examples. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Taylor. I hear the comment, an ode to action. I feel like that's social workers calling all the time. We are always in this place of action and compassion in the work that we're doing. I'm feeling very inspired. I hope you all are feeling at the end of maybe what was a very long week. You're getting to, many of you, a very long semester, maybe a very long program. I hope this was some light in your social work time. Know that as you enter the field, there are many people that are willing to walk hand by hand with you, side by side, and guide you as you start your social work journeys. I know you all aren't going to need that guidance because you often are probably the ones leading the way. And as I was taking some notes as you all were talking today, and there definitely were some themes about our support networks for one another. Antranika started out by saying, sometimes we don't see what is great within ourselves, and I think that that is very true. So many of you all talked about how this was a surprise, and there are so many deserving folks on your campus, which is also probably very true. And again, how can we recognize and highlight our fellow social workers, whether those are students, faculty, folks in our agencies and our field placements? Lorisha had said, thank you to my village, which kind of goes to Ayana's comment around Ubuntu, and I am because we are. Half of our title for our rest of our professional career is social. That means we have to be connected. That means we have to have interconnectedness with one another, and not just within our own community, but with the greater social work collective. And I know you all have hopefully found your home in this field as best as possible and found your people within the field. Marquita said, people showed up for me. I know that that rings true probably for everyone. And Patricia maybe said it best, I didn't choose social work, it chose me. I think that many of us feel that same way. Maybe we didn't know social work was that option, but as we learned our own passions and reflected on privilege, oppression, social justice issues that we care about, this became the shining profession for many of us. On behalf of NASW, I want to really thank you all for the work that you have done on your campuses throughout the pandemic. You have shown great resilience and strength in a very difficult time. I want to give a shout out to all of the faculty who are on still today and their work in supporting students across the universities, all the family and friends who are also on that have shown support for all of you and for our entire profession over the last couple of years. Know that NASW is here to support you in whatever your next steps are, whether that's going into a bachelor's, a master's, or a PhD program, or entering the field. It is a unique and strange and amazing time to become a social worker. We are needed more than ever. I would say in many ways we are valued more than ever, and that also means financially valued. We want to make sure that you are set up for success in finding those jobs or creating those jobs that are going to lead you to success in the field. I am so happy that we kind of can put a end to Social Work Month, even though we're a couple days after it anyway, with this amazing celebration. And I just want to thank you all and congratulate you on getting through your semesters and your programs. And that really is going to wrap up our program for today. I hope everyone takes some time this weekend and is able to enjoy some self-care. Thank you all. We will have the recording available sometime probably next week, so we'll make sure that that gets emailed out. But with that, we're just